What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is kind of a sequel of sorts, okay? About 3 years ago, I posted a wedding video showing my Punjabi cousin sister marrying her Nigerian boyfriend. Till date, this video is one of the most viewed on my channel. So I thought it would be a good time and just fun to do a part 2 where I kind of just interview them about their experience as a biracial couple throughout their marriage, the obstacles that they faced, as well as any advice that they may have for those who are watching. Now, it's also a great time for this video because Gimme Didi is pregnant, quite pregnant, okay? Like 8.5 months or more now. The baby could basically come any day. So I just thought it was a good time to do all this. Now, all this being said, the video is also quite long. And in the description and in the comments, I put out a timeline showing at what point I ask what questions. So feel free to skip through the video, or if you're bored, you could just watch the whole thing. And yeah, if you have not yet seen the wedding video, I'll be linking that in the description as well as at the end of this video. So, that's pretty much it for now. Hope you guys enjoy. Catch you soon. Peace.
Let's see. So first, I'm so excited. Okay, so you guys, it's officially being recorded. So first, why don't you guys go ahead and just introduce yourselves? Like, quickly give your intros.
Ladies first.
Thanks.
Alright, well, my name is Savreet Kaur. I'm a first-generation Indian American. I'm a physician by trade, and I'm married to this man 3 years in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. My name is Chukwudi Yagazie Mbagu, but you can just call me Chidi. I'm a first-generation Nigerian American, yeah, I mean, so far so good. And I'm married to this lovely princess over here.
This princess, by the way, is currently pregnant, correct?
Yeah.
Correct, 8.5 months.
8.5 months. So, by the way, for context, so I call her Gimme Didi, but her name is Savreet, whatever. What's your guys' quick version of your story? Like how you guys met and how you guys ended up deciding to get married and all that?
Ooh. There's not a quick story because according to each of us, there's a different story.
Oh.
My story is I saw her first and, you know, she turned around and I, slow motion, hair flowing, and it was instant. I'm in love right there.
Damn.
Her story is...
My story is we landed up in med school together first week, and we were basically figuring stuff out on campus. You know, every campus has those little tables where you can ask questions about things around there. Mm-hmm. I saw him. He was leaving the room at the same time as me. He held the door open, and there was a big old cloud coming, and we both made a comment on how, like, oh, it looks like it's going to rain, and we were just walking the same direction, and we just talked, and we were both Californian, and we were both, in the dorms, and et cetera, and then we just talked about how, oh, we should hang out, because we both are starting, and then we exchanged numbers, and and a few minutes later, I was back on campus, and he saw me at that time, is what I think he's remembering. And he said, oh, I couldn't save your number. I don't have it. I don't know what happened. Can I have it again? That's what I remember.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, it was first week of med school. And the short version is, in 2 weeks, I think there was a little bit of electricity. In about 4 months, there was a little bit of there might be something here. But there was fear on I think how long-term this would be, because med school is a very stressful thing.
Yeah.
Facts.
And then with time, I think, maybe 2 years in, we were like, okay, this is pretty real. I'd be dumb if I didn't pay more attention. In about 4 years, it was like, all right, I think we got to get married. And in about 7 years.
You say it like it's a chore. Like, all right, I think we have to do this. We got to get married, yeah.
No, I just want to emphasize that it was a very, very educated and calculated decision, because we were very aware of the fact that we're individuals with goals and backgrounds and families. And it wasn't just, oh, this is the one, in 1 year I'm done. We put a lot of effort into priming the situation to make an educated decision. So by 4 years, we were pretty sure, but then we waited until 7 years of being together to actually.
Yeah.
I love how Chitty's version was just a one-scene Bollywood story, it's slow-mo and all that, and Gimme Didi is the one who gives the details and all that. That's crazy.
I think it encompasses our personalities pretty well. He's a romantic and I'm a planner.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the whole what was he said? We planned it out. Yeah, sure.
I'm done. All right, so what would you guys say now, almost 3 years into marriage, is the biggest thing you guys have learned, just in general?
Biggest thing.
I think what I've learned is love takes a lot of care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think we met when we were 21, 22. And I think my understanding of what it's like to be with someone was very different than my understanding of what it's like to be with someone now. And I think it doesn't just happen. I think it takes a lot of care. I think I used to think it just happens. And, it's the stuff people teach you or, like, subliminally you pick up. But it takes a lot of TLC. It takes a lot of thought, and it takes a lot of handling it delicately.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time. Anything, in my opinion, that doesn't have those components, I would question as to how strong that is. So now, 3 years in, I can say, even with 7 years of being together and knowing that we were pretty compatible, the last 3 years have still taught me a lot on how to, like, be in this next stage. And with the kid, I think I'm going to learn a lot more of the next stage.
Of course.
So that's what I think I've learned is love takes a lot of care, and it has a lot of shapes and forms, and you have to keep up with that and stay in touch with it. Otherwise, it can get away from you.
Damn, that's deep, man. That's deep. Chidi, what about you?
I've got to say that the one thing I've learned is how to be a team or be as one, especially during the hard times. I feel that during the good times, it's easy to get along. It's easy to live and be happy. But it's when, things don't go your way. I personally am used to handling things on my own. But having Savreet there and having to make sure that she's okay during those times, as well as she make sure that I'm okay, I think that's where you truly learn about yourself as a person, as a partner. Can you be there for the other person? Are you willing to, put yourself aside to make sure that they're okay, that they're happy? I think that's something for me at least was really hard. I've always been sort of a loner, but I've learned that the feeling you get from that, I feel like is the best thing you can do in regards to a relationship. So if you ask me, I would say it's like kind of going through the hard times and being there for the other person, not just thinking about yourself. I think that's the best thing I learned is that if you could get through that, like that joy coming out of that is a lot better than just being happy all the time, no worries or anything, So
It's a priority shift, right? Like, we've talked about that before too. Like, when you go into this whole thing, you're prioritizing a unit instead of just yourself, which is quite a change.
Absolutely.
Damn, man, yeah, that's crazy. So now let's talk a bit about like the cultural differences. So now, after being married for 3 years and even being more integrated into each other's families, what's the biggest cultural difference that you guys have noted, or even like your favorite thing about the other culture that you've like adapted a little bit?
I'll say the opposite. There's no difference because to me, you could nitpick like the language and the food, and you could nitpick like little things like that. But those are very, I feel like, small things.
Yeah, so
Very small things.
Yeah, I was gonna say language because I honestly couldn't think of anything else. The food, I don't know. Both foods are flavorful. Even that I would say is similar, So,
but those are like geographical things that are going to be different. You know what I mean? I mean, they're different between people from Amritsar and Chandigarh.
Facts.
But you could both still be like Sikh Punjabis or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, when we say culture, we say like respect for elders, having a goal in life, respect for women respecting men, equality among genders, spirituality, having some kind of belief in something bigger than you, how you deal with death, how you deal with poverty. All of those things, it's the same. I mean, they talk about it in a different language, but they talk the same stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, culturally, there's really no difference. But the other stuff, I think, is cool. I love the Nigerian clothes. I really like learning about different reasons why my mother-in-law does certain things around the house or for her family, because she has her own stories of what her grandmother has taught her. Those things are very interesting to me, but would I call them culturally different than mine? Because my mom has very similar stories from her grandmother, and they have a lot of similarities. So I almost find it like weird to say that there are differences, because then I'd be just looking for differences because they're supposed to be differences, but there really aren't any differences in my opinion.
Yeah, and I will say this: it is an opinion. Disclaimer: I am not like fully, emerged or immersed in the Nigerian culture per se. I am aware of it. I do. I grew up in it. But if you're asking, do I go to all the Nigerian functions that are going on? No. I do not. But so this is really just our opinions, just from the way I was raised, the way she was raised, and what we value. We don't see that much of a difference.
Yeah, being first generation American has a lot to do with it. I mean,
Of course.
That has its role, and not everyone can understand how we balance those two sides. But I guess I don't have a great answer for differences because I just see similarities, to be honest.
But that's kind of dope, and I guess that speaks a lot to how you guys are like building your own relationship, balancing the two. Now, when it comes to a child coming, boy/girl, maybe we won't give that away for now. But like, actually, when I put this on Instagram too, about if any of my followers have questions for you guys, the most common one I got is, how are you guys planning to raise a child with awareness of both cultures? Or are you like, do you have things like split in your head, or we'll plan this versus that? Or are you going to let the child decide, or like what side they lean to more? Or have you guys thought about that? I don't know if I'm flicking any sensitive strings or anything, but
I'll say this, and Sarit could correct me if I'm wrong, but I know from my side of the family, there's plans, especially on the religious aspect. My parents are pretty religious, but they also respect that my wife's side of the family is Sikh, and they actually told me that make sure that he learns both sides. So I know there are going to be some expectations in regards to the religious front, but the key is that my family is very acceptable or willing, or they do accept the Sikh side, and that they do want him to learn about the Sikh religion as well. So, I mean, that's what I could say. I don't want to like lie about it or anything.
of course.
I think those are the realities.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the realities. These are the things that come up. Is how is the kid gonna pray? How is the kid gonna talk? How is the kid gonna dress? And all these things. I think I'm very cognizant of the fact that being grandparents is super important for both sides of the family at this stage in their life. That's something that I feel very strongly about, and I feel like I have no right to take any of that pleasure away from anyone.
I agree.
So if my in-laws are devout Catholics and they're doing everything that they can to be as accepting as possible, and they would like their grandchild to be baptized and going to church, I'm not going to stand in the middle of that. Especially because I don't have answers any more than they do. So if that's how they have grown up thinking, and that those are the lessons they have gathered in their lifetime that's longer than mine, and they want to pass them on to their grandchild, it is going to happen. Similarly, on my side of the thing, obviously nobody wants to not share where they come from, so we're going to share our side as well. My family is not as I don't know what the word is, we're a little bit more as orthodox, I guess is the word. They're not as orthodox, so they're a little bit more loose on the religious front. They're a little bit more spiritual. They want the kid to know about things, but
I hope you did.
They want the kid to know about things, but perhaps are not as committed to the Amrit Chakna and like Bal and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to just find a balance on what is important to the grandparents and make sure that that gets valued. In the process, the child is going to have questions. And as the child grows up, the questions are going to come our way. And I would hope that we are also given the same luxury of being parents that we are trying to give our parents. So if we want to raise the child and answer some questions, knowing what we know as parents, I'm pretty sure our parents will say, okay, that's what you want to tell your kid. That's what you understand of this question. Go ahead. So basically, we have a pretty good understanding among the three major paternal and maternal figures on each person should be able to contribute what they feel is necessary to pass down to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be what it'll be. You know, that's not a robot. You can't program this child. So we're just going to give it the best shot and see how it goes.
Of course, but there's no doubt in my mind that you guys are going to be kick-ass parents regardless. And this kid, whichever, boy, girl, whatever it may be, is going to be loved amazingly and it's going to be dope. Wait, so do you guys, I feel like the whole navigating this part is a challenge in one way, right? Would you guys say this is the biggest challenge you guys have faced as a biracial couple so far? Or what would you say, if not, are the other biggest challenges you guys have faced?
This might be the biggest.
Yeah, definitely this.
Yeah, this might be the biggest. Especially because this is the iceberg, I think. We don't really know what's going to happen. We have no idea. We're just blindfolded going in because it's what you do.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the challenges are unpredictable right now.
Damn, that's crazy. But I mean, I've always thought that being like a parent is one of the hardest things in life. So I feel like everyone's blindfolded kind of going in, right? You can never really...
I agree. I feel like there's not really, you can't be 100% prepared for it.
Absolutely. One of the other questions I had is, what advice do you guys have for the other like biracial couples who are like a couple steps behind you guys, or maybe they haven't gotten the families to come around yet, or they're considering, okay, if we marry, how do we take this step, or like things like that? What advice do you guys have?
Have a plan. Have a plan. You gotta think of all possibilities, and you know, I'm saying this as if I did this. No, she did this. She had a plan. You know, don't just go in there, emotions flying, saying, I'm going to marry him no matter what, or I'm going to marry her no matter what.
This is not Raj and Simran.
This is not DDLJ. Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they never show you what happens after she gets on the train.
That's so true. That is true.
Yeah, okay. Have a plan. Know your parents, you know, like, I don't know. I'm kind of stealing her thunder. How about you?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Know your parents. Know their mannerisms. Know how they react to certain situations, and adjust that plan to it when you're introducing this idea. Do not just rush into it. If it takes a year, even, you should take that year to plan it out. Okay? Because you don't want to just shock them, you know, and them feel like you had no consideration for their, you know, feelings about the topic.
Of course.
You know, and then they make a brash decision themselves and say, oh, I'm going to cut you off and all that, right? So I think the biggest thing is have a plan. Don't just act solely on emotions and say, I don't care. No, you know, you want everyone to be happy. You want everyone to be supportive. You have to plan it out. You have to take other people that are involved in the situation into consideration and plan it out. That being said, there are some people that no matter what you do, they're just not going to agree with it. There's always going to be someone that doesn't agree with it no matter what you do. And like she said, I mean, you could both be a Sikh, but if you're from a different region, even, you know, there's still going to be people that aren't going to agree. So
Fact.
Those people, you know, do your due diligence, and make sure you did the best you could to kind of, you know, tell them or I guess explain to them why you're doing it. And if they still don't come around, you know, that's their problem at that point, right? But I think the biggest thing is definitely have a plan. definitely have a plan. All right.
Absolutely. Give me anything to add, or did he hit all the points?
He hit all the points. I think just to piggyback on that, my thought would be that no parent wants their kid to be unhappy in any way.
Of course.
Every parent would do anything they can for their child to have what they want. When a parent believes that the child is not fully knowledgeable of what they're talking about is when I think they might say, oh, well, you're not thinking clearly. In my opinion, it's not completely their responsibility to give us credit just because I'm 25, I'm thinking clearly. It's also your responsibility to prove to them why you are thinking clearly. So I think I hear too often people almost feeling entitled to a parent's support, which is not justified because they have their own reasons why they believe what they believe. And just because you believe differently does not mean they're wrong. You have to understand why they believe that, and you have to target those reasons and bring them to the table. I hear a lot of people saying what he said, oh, I'm just going to go do this, and if you want to show up, show up. If you don't want to show up, don't. And having said that, I'm lucky. My parents asked questions, listened to my answers, and were reasonable. And I know sometimes people are not reasonable, but I think that's where your ability to bring people to the table matters. And if you can do that, I think it is worth it because you don't want to give up 25 years of a family. I mean, life is too short. I think you have to try every single possible thing to bring families together to the best of your ability. And time is the best healer. Give it time. Just because you don't have time to wait shouldn't be someone else's responsibility to hurry up and understand. So time is huge. So if anyone is looking to do this thing and talk to family members and all of that, have a cushion for time. You can't be thinking, okay, 6 months, wham, bam, let's get this done. If they're not ready, they're not ready. And you can't rush that. So we gave it a lot of time, and we're amazingly happy. And our in-laws on both sides, parents and in-laws, are completely understanding, and we had the conversations. I mean, it's not like we just walked into each other's homes and everyone was all progressive and everything was great. Parents ask questions. They should ask questions. And we answered those questions, and that's why I think it worked out for us. So have a plan, give it time, and have answers.
Damn. Yeah, I feel like that is super important because a lot of people could just write it off in their head and be like, no, screw everyone else. This is it. I'm not even going to think about it. Just go for it. And you're right. It is a big cost. So when it comes to backlash, like there's backlash sometimes in family, but also in society and, like Loki Kigangi and all that stupid shit, which I purely hate. But how do you guys persevere and stand up against the backlash you feel externally as well?
Well, being 6'5" helps keep people from going into my face. So I don't hear anything like personally. No one says anything to my face, but I do understand that behind closed doors and stuff, there's probably stuff being said. But I honestly, it doesn't faze me. But I don't know. Sabrina probably has a different experience, so I'll let her answer that question.
Again, I'm lucky in the sense that my parents have been ever since I was young, they've been very clear about not valuing just what other people think. My dad is very clear on that. I've seen him live by it. So I will preface this by saying that I've been lucky where the average amount of discussion in our home of what other people will think is pretty low compared to, I think, our community. So that's one thing, which is what I think was instilled in me so early that I did give this very serious thought because it didn't cross my mind what people will think. It crossed my mind what my parents would think and what they would feel, how they would feel about just me picking my own guy in general, for example, let alone Indian or not. So I had those thoughts. But I think what I will say is it's very hard to be the one person in the family who says, who cares? You know, if your parents care, then they care. And that's one of the things that you have to consider when you do talk to them. If that is a point that they're going to get stuck on, you have to find a way to address it. So I can't speak for that because I didn't have to find a way to address it. But what I did for myself is I shortlisted a list of people in my family that I care about their opinions.
Oh wow!
And
I did not know.
for
this.
example, these people are the ones that I genuinely care about what they think, and I would not want them to have thoughts that were unaddressed. So all of you, my cousins, I made sure you all met him beforehand. I didn't want it to be a thing where you're just invited to the wedding and you don't even know what's going on.
And he was dope. By the way, his contact in my phone is still Big Bro-in-Law because he is 6'5" and he's a huge man. So I remember meeting him for the first. You brought him to our house. I remember that, and like, yeah, that was dope.
And then you remember me singing a song by Aisha and what's his name? Adnan Sami.
Yo, I was gonna ask you later to sing something actually.
No, we're not doing that.
So I made a list of people that I care about, and I just addressed those concerns. One of the people that I cared a lot about is my 80-year-old grandfather, our 80-year-old grandfather. I called him after my mom told him. I called him to make sure he was okay, if there was any questions that he had. I even told him that I was afraid you wouldn't approve or you'd feel some kind of way about it. And his answer to me was, you've done everything else in life that has led you to be where you are, and I'm proud of you. Why would I doubt you now? And that's when I was like, you know what? If some uncle somewhere that I see once every 2 years has something to say, he's definitely not going to say it at my wedding. Secondly, anyone that I know is going to say it is not going to be invited to my wedding. And once this wedding happens, everyone is going to really make it clear as to who even wants to see me anymore once a year or twice a year or whatever we see
100%.
each other. So once I have those pieces of information, I can declutter my life as long as the people that I genuinely care about have a chance to ask me why, or this is my issue with you, or I don't understand X, Y, and Z. And we can have a conversation. And as long as you're willing to have a conversation, I'm willing to talk. So that's what made me not prioritize these things at all. Once people that I cared about and my grandpa was like, why should I have a problem? You're making a decision for your life that seems pretty well informed. I just didn't give it any more thought again.
Yeah.
Plan.
Papa G is the man, yeah. Okay, I wanted to do some more like quick fun stuff too, kind of. Okay, I'll explain. So I'm basically just gonna ask a question like, who's the taller one, or who's the whinier one, and you guys just point at either yourself or your spouse, okay? Who do you guys think has the worst temper? Wow, I would not have guessed that actually. Okay.
Because you've seen my temper.
Yeah.
You've not seen his
Cool.
temper.
Okay. Who's the bigger romantic? I know this one. Can you say one line in Punjabi, Chidi? Or like a Bollywood line? Remember that Bade Bade Deshon Mein?
No.
Come on, dude, just say one.
No. Like I seriously can't. It's been so long since I've like been trying to learn something that like
We've been pretty busy.
Yeah, it's been hectic, man. Like I told myself I was gonna learn Punjabi, and I haven't opened a single page. You know, it's.
He could tell you most of Shah Rukh Khan movies from the 2000s.
That's pretty. What's your favorite? What's your favorite movie, Chidi?
Is it Kahuna Ho?
Kahuna.
No, Kahuna Ho or Devdas.
Devdas or Kahuna Ho?
That's a sad ending. Like, jeez, man. Like, it was just horrible. Like,
I told you he was a romantic.
Yeah. Wait, Kalhona Ho is such a sad ending too, bro.
I don't know, man. Devdas just the way he was just spiraling down, man. I don't know. It hurt to see that.
It did. I totally feel you. Okay, let's see. Who says sorry more? Is there one person that wears the pants in the relationship?
That's supposed to I should point to you or it's me?
Actually,
It's like it goes back and forth. Like for the majority time, I want to say like she does things, but then like at a point, I'm just like, okay, I said it, didn't I? You know, like. So I guess no one really.
okay, got you. So, what would you guys say is the biggest pet peeve about each other? Chitty, or give me the go first.
Oh man.
Can I answer that question?
Sure. So, what do you think it would be, Chitty?
Man, not completing a task. You know, for instance.
Wait, this is your pet peeve?
This is my pet peeve for you. Like what you get annoyed at.
Oh, okay.
Not completing a task. For instance, you're preparing a meal. I open up the cupboard. I get my bowl out. I put it down the counter. I get cereal. I get milk out. I put cereal in the bowl. I put milk in. Get a spoon from the drawer, and then I go and eat. What have I done wrong there?
You didn't put them back. You didn't put the cereal back and milk back and all that?
And I left the drawers open. I left the cupboard open. So that, I believe, is a big pet peeve. One thing that Savreed says that, I don't know, it shocked me because it was like really weird but also entertaining, is that she would come home and say things like, oh my God, you have the biggest footprint ever. And I'm like, what do you mean? She would explain, I could tell exactly what you did when you got home. Here, you took your shoes off, you went over to the TV, turned it on, put your bag down, went to the kitchen, got a bowl of cereal, went upstairs, put the bowl of cereal down, undressed, came back down, and I find you in your boxers watching TV with the cereal. You didn't hang up any of your clothes. I'm just like, oh my God.
He's a detective, dude. Woman's a detective.
That is my pet peeve. Because that translates everywhere, right? That translates everywhere. So when you're like doing laundry, you do the laundry, but you don't want to fold the clothes. So you just put the clothes on from the clean hamper until that hamper is empty. Things like that.
Okay,
I mean, no, it's not a huge deal, but it is a pet peeve. It's unfinished business.
Okay, that's fair. Now, give me the. What do you think is the thing that you do that annoys him?
Telling him to finish the business.
Yeah. Well, I actually got used to it. It doesn't bother me as much. I think, what is it called to read the hyper, sensitive thing? I would say my wife has very sensitive ears.
Oh, misophonia.
Very sensitive ears?
Like hearing.
Okay.
I hear everything.
Ooh,
Or if I
interesting.
have an annoyance towards a noise, that's all I can focus on. That's called misophonia. And he doesn't care about any noise.
I try, but geez, man, I'm in thought, I like cars. I'm working on my car, and we have a door here.
I heard you have a mistress, by the way, that you were working on the Porsche.
Yes, man. Oh, and it's a mean mistress. Every step, it's like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you ain't gonna do that. You gotta order this and that. And, it's. Anyways, I'm in my mind, trying to think of how to fix this problem, how to fix that problem, and this door to the car shuts pretty damn hard, right? And it doesn't faze me. I don't notice it. I'm in my mind. But then all I hear from upstairs is, there are other people in the house. I'm just like, oh, sorry, babe. Or if we're sitting down, we're watching a movie, you have no idea how much concentration it goes into me just eating. I have to make sure that, there's not even a little bit of a gap between my lips.
Oh, dude, wait, but with that, I'm on Didi's side. All my friends, my roommates know, I hate people who, and there's some people who chew with their mouth closed, but you can still hear it, and it's not their fault, but it pisses me off. It's just annoying.
That's me. I literally am, chewing a grape, I'm just like, oh, God, I hope this isn't too loud, So that's my pet peeve is that hearing the misophonia, oh my God, I can't, it stresses me out, man.
That's hilarious. Okay, now the final question.
Pretty good problems to have if those are our biggest problems.
True. Fact. Those are amazing problems to have. Now, the last thing is just what would you guys say is 3 years in still, or again, even if it's been since the day you guys first met, the favorite thing about each other? Chidi, I'm expecting some like hardcore romantic.
Oh, dude, please don't put me on this. Because I don't know. Like, it's... I guess I would say is... Sari... The care, you know? Like, she cares for you. And, man, let's just say I think I won the lottery on that. You know, I wish I could be as good at that as her. And honestly, I try, but dude, she always one-ups me. Like, no matter what I do, my romantic grand gesture is just done away by, like, oh, babe, I've done all our laundry and hanging out your clothes. I'm just like, like, why did I think of that? You know, it's just, just simple things like that, but continuously, you know, the care, I guess the love, you know, when she expresses her love and shows how much she cares. I think that's the thing I love most about her.
That's goals, dude. Damn, that's hella sweet. What about you, Didi?
I think...
Nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
I think what I really like about Chidi is that there's a couple of things that are related. One is, I think there's something about the way he experiences being a human is very pure. Meaning when he's angry, he's like really angry. He's not just angry because he just feels like saying some stuff. No, he's like upset. If he's sad, he's like really sad. And it's not just something he's going through and it'll pass. So I think he's very in touch, I guess I can say, with being human. And why I bring that up first is because this next thing is that he's very self-reflective and introspective of what that means.
Yeah.
Meaning, why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling envious? Why am I feeling upset when this isn't something I should be upset about? And I think that is a very good skill to have, because a lot of us say, well, this is how I am. This is me. Take it or leave it. 100%. And there's a sense of pride in that. But I think there's something about the way Chidi handles being human and processing his emotions that actually makes him better each time. Meaning, I've never felt like he doesn't think I'm equal or my problems are not the same as his, because he just sees other people also as human going through the same journey that he's going through. Instead of, well, I don't like this about this person, so I'm done with it. You know, so there's just this being in touch with what makes himself him that I think I really like. Because I can use that to talk to him. I can say, what's going on here, and let's dig deeper. And he may not see it at first, but once we talk about it, once he sees it, he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then it just leads to an understanding for both of us that I really, really like. Because I can't have a conversation that has no goal. Or I can't have a conversation with someone that I expect to have differences with, who's not coming to the table with the same goal. 100%. So that, I think, is my favorite thing about him, is that he has this ability to self-reflect and, like, accept that it's okay to be human in whatever we're talking about.
100%. And I think that's huge. That's, like, huge maturity for, like, knowing yourself, and when it comes to a relationship, being able to communicate how you're feeling and why you're feeling. Because a lot of people run from that, including me. I kind of suck at that sometimes, like, just, like, suppressing how I feel and just distracting rather than, like, analyzing it. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, though, is that I think, I mean, I was the same way, you know, but, you know, Sabri obviously kind of brought that out in me. I was able to be honest, you know, or be myself and be honest about how I feel about things. And hopefully, you know, when you find someone, they do that for you as well. Because I think for guys in general, and it's not just guys, it could be anybody, but I feel like people are like that just in general, you know? So, I mean, it definitely takes effort on your part to kind of be open, and obviously also depends on your personality. I just, like she said, I honestly didn't even know that about myself. All the stuff she just said, I just thought that's just like you're being a human. This is how I feel. Like I'm not.
But it's this level of emotional awareness that I think is definitely rare. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so I guess I have to credit Reed for that because it takes two. Like I didn't know that about myself, but she definitely helped me get to that point, right? So I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know what to say on that.
No, dude, I think this is amazing, and every time I talk to you guys, either individually or as a unit, there's so much to learn from, and I really think people will love this. So any last thing you guys want to say to the over 500,000 people who saw your wedding video, by the way, or in general?
Oh, that's just anxiety for me, man.
The floor is yours to end it and say bye however you want to say bye.
Go ahead,
Well,
Wait, Didi, someone recognized you, right? Once at the airport or something?
yes. No, it was at my job.
yeah.
I was actually another Nigerian coworker of mine. He was Yoruba. He stopped me in the hallway and he goes, "Did you just get married?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you married to a Nigerian guy?" I was like, "How do you know that?" And he goes, "I think I saw you on YouTube." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" So that was pretty crazy in Kentucky of all places. But yeah, I think it's really flattering that a lot of people have spent the time to watch the video, especially because you think nobody cares. I mean, who
100%.
cares? Two random people. I think it's very flattering, and I think it does raise a lot of interesting questions that people may or may not have expressed to people in their real life or in the comments or anything. And I think the only thing I can say is no one has the answers. But if you're asking certain questions that are applicable to your life, I hope that this gives you some answers. And if you're asking certain questions that have nothing to do with your life, but just something to do with judging others, I think you got some self-reflection to do.
Fact. Amazing. All right, well, thank you guys so much. This was fun for me to just catch up with you guys, and just in general, I really appreciate you guys sitting down during quarantine and talking to me about all this.
Yeah, no problem.
I love you guys. I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye. Say bye to everyone watching. Bye, guys.
And that is a wrap on the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, I'm very sorry it was over FaceTime instead of an in-person type of thing. They're on the West Coast. I'm in Michigan. Just the best we could do during quarantine season. Regardless, hope you liked it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more videos. And follow me on Instagram at Jayraj Gill. Catch you soon. Peace.